right. All right. Well, we had another exciting night tonight, and we're certainly excited to add three more additions to the kingdom. Sky Moore at 54, playmaking wideout, kind of a combo, do-it-all safety, and Brian Cook at 62. And then our last pick there, Leo from Wisconsin at pick 103. Obviously, during the course of that process, there was exciting times up there with our ability to trade back and acquire a fifth-round pick, which was important to us because we certainly still see a lot of value in this draft. And then tomorrow, looking at our picks having a 4 and those handful of 7s there, just that big gap from the 4 to 7s. When we were approached by New England there at 50, I had a few guys we really liked on the board and didn't want to do anything too crazy, but thought if it made sense for us to move back a few spots and be active in that 5th round, it would be advantageous. So we're able to do that and still land 3 really good players. So we're excited about it tonight and excited about tomorrow's finale. So with that, I'll take your questions.
Brett, can you talk about just with the first 4 guys you got, it seemed like the 4 primary positions you guys most needed going into this draft.
Yeah.
Can you just
yeah.
what you got overall there?
And we joked about that too, that it's very rare when you go into the draft where you're going to have needs and you're going to have some holes you want to fill, but you also want to stay true to your board. And it was one of those kind of weird setups where we were able to stick to the board, stick to the value, stick to the players' talent and upside, and yet at the same time address key needs for our team. And going into this draft, wanted to get more depth on the D line. Certainly wanted to add youth to the secondary and then corner safety, and then. I think this last pick with Leo allows us to play Willie more at a natural position at the will linebacker. Now we have a Sam. Leo also will have backup Mike ability, and Nick is so important to us. He kind of runs that show. So now you have a guy that can play Sam and can kind of also back up that Mike position, have value similar to a guy like Damian Wilson we had in the past, and we were kind of looking for that, and also gets bigger up front too in that front 7. So we're excited about that.
Gonzi kind of joked that there was a golf clap when you traded back
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah.
You had a signature being a little aggressive. What was that phenomenon? Like?
Yeah, it was exciting. It was exciting. I told Clark, I think I've everything checked off of my to-do list, and the only thing I had left was a trade down. So it was a special moment, and we took a little time to celebrate that. So, and
what was it like when you traded down? You obviously wanted a wide receiver, and then once the wide receiver started coming up.
Yeah, so there was a pocket of wideouts there we liked, and we had a couple players really close there, and again going back to tomorrow and having the 4 and the 4 7s or 3 7s, just having that big gap, we were just concerned that there'd be a lot of value there that we didn't want to miss out on. And as the board started to play out and we got closer to our pick, we were in the mindset that if we can get a 5th round pick and be active tomorrow in between 4 and 7, that would be something we'd be interested in. But we didn't want to go down into the 60s, and it kind of worked out perfectly where we were cool with a small move, but nothing crazy, and then it just made sense. It was just a nice setup for us to move down 4 spots, get that 5th round pick tomorrow, and then get a guy in Sky Moore. That obviously probably would have taken there at 50. So it worked out, and you have to hold your breath there. But they're going to be begging me to trade back all the time now. So that's a good and a bad thing, I guess, all at once. But it worked out, and again, we're really excited about the guys we're able to add tonight.
Veach, with Sky and trying to look at all the receivers because there were so many, were there certain traits that you guys prioritized over others, or was it just a case of where you were picking that Sky field, maybe most of those traits you were looking for?
Yeah, I think, we have a combination of size, speed, and different. I think when, and we spent a ton of time on these wideouts, and we wanted to obviously, do the work and talk about the scheme fit, but we also wanted to keep it a little bit more simplistic in that we're going to take good players and. Again, Coach Reed, Coach Bieniemy, they're going to find ways to utilize these guys' strengths. Sky is unique. He's smaller, but he plays big. He has longer arms. He was a running back that transitioned to wideout. It was funny watching his tape because it seemed like we were watching it forever until he dropped the pass. I mean, his ball skills were great. can get off press coverage. He plays big enough where you can utilize him on the outside, utilize him on the inside. Got great run after the catch, great kid, smart, pick up an offense real quick. So I think, on one end, I think if, when you're picking, I think there are times where maybe you're looking for something, but, we have guys like, MVS that has some size and speed, McCole has speed, Juju's big. So I feel like we have a good combination, and now we just want to add the best player, regardless of size or height. Just guys that we feel are going to come in and be able to contribute right away, and certainly this guy's one of those guys.
Brett, for your first 5 picks, obviously on defense, as you enter this third day of the draft, where would you say offensive line, specifically an offensive tackle, is on your priority list?
Yeah, I mean, it's right up there with all those players at those positions we picked today. But this was still sticking to the board. So where we, had some of those linemen, it didn't work out. Where these guys were valued in regards to our rankings a lot higher. So there were a couple linemen there that 5, 6, 7, 8 picks that went before a couple of these guys that we took that would have been in play. The board kind of plays out the way it does every year, and the decisions go from 6 guys to 4 guys, and by the time you're on the clock, it's a couple guys, and a couple of those linemen, they were in the mix at those positions, and then it just kind of worked out where they were gone, and then we went right on to the next value. So the value is there. It was just on our board. And again, when you talk about the numbers, some of these guys for different reasons, scheme fit and the medicals and all that kind of stuff. I mean, everything comes into play. So we may not have some of the numbers that you may see on the computer, what have you, but certainly it was up there. I mean, O-line and D-line is always going to be something that you value in every round, in every draft. But this was just us sticking to the board and the value on the board.
When you have 4 7th-round draft picks, how confident are you might be able to package some of that to move into the 5th and 6th round? Or how active do you think you'll see yourself potentially doing that?
Yeah, I think the 5th was big, and that's why we were so driven to do this, because this could allow you to maneuver tomorrow. I mean, the 7th will be tough because I don't think you'll be able to do just from the point value and the tiering structure. It can move you up small increments. The 5th is what really you can make some hay with, and that's kind of a chip right there where you can get 2 of those guys that you have valued in the 4th round there at 4 and 5, because there'll always be some carryover into the 5th round with guys that you have in 4. But it will also allow you to maneuver up. So, for example, tomorrow when we come into tomorrow's draft, we're sitting there, and then all of a sudden we have a guy that's within 8, 9, 10 picks. I mean, the 7s aren't going to do anything for you. I mean, they're not going to. Now the 5th, now you're talking. Now you can get up there. So that's why that was important for us. So the 5th is a big piece in this thing, and whether we stay there or whether we utilize this to move up in 4, I think that's where you'll see some of the movement. And then the 7th is just beating those undrafted free agencies to the phone. It's hard, and you're going different directions, and the connections in college and coaches and all that kind of stuff. We've done a great job of that, and our coaches have done a great job of helping us do a great job of recruiting these guys. But you get into the land of the unknown, and this really protects us for the guys that we really think have a shot to develop into something. So again, that 5th round pick is going to be big for us tomorrow, whether we stay there or whether we use it to move up.
When it comes to Justin Reed and Cook, and to an extent like McDuffie, it seems like they all share this theme of versatility. Just how intentional has that been with Steve Spagnuolo and Merritt and what you're trying to build in the secondary?
Yeah, I mean, it's a large part of the equation when we place that final value on guys on the board, just their ability to not be pigeonholed into they're just this or they're just that. And Justin's a guy that, I mean, he has a physical presence down there in the box, but also has range and vision on the back end. And we thought Cook was a similar player in that, I mean, he's physical, he'll go down there and he'll play the run, but he also has range. I think we were a benefactor in the fact that he didn't have a combine. He was a small school kid that transferred to Cincinnati, and prior to the combine, I mean, we loved his tape and loved his makeup. Unbelievable interview at the combine. I mean, super smart. And I think we were a little bit of a benefactor that he didn't go. I mean, if he goes there and he runs 4.48 and jumps 38 or something like that, I mean, those teams start, checking that tape out a little bit more. But and so that worked out, and there was a little bit of. Because when we were sitting there with the Sky Moore pick, I mean, we had him and Cook right there, and then we were hoping, and it worked out that he was, still there at 62, and at that point, these guys can go anywhere. And I was worried because I think Cincinnati was a team right before us, and you know, them being obviously right there and having access there, I was a little bit worried that they could go defensive back again, and they did, I think, or I think it was a different corner. I think they went the Nebraska kid, who's a good player there. So I think we kind of thought this could be a secondary piece here, and you know, it worked out, and we got, you know, two really good players then, and we capped it on off with Leo that we think will be a good addition for us.
Brett, everybody knows that you need to be talented to play well at this league, but given the fact that you guys are talking about these interviews and how quickly these guys process, and obviously having, you know, multiple years as starters, how much of that element do you believe that these guys can maybe contribute earlier than maybe, you know, other prospects who are talented but obviously may not have the same mental wherewithal?
Yeah, I think it you know, I think it's certainly a factor, and this goes back to the mindset where, you know, in your off-season plans, you're going to do things and for specific reasons, and every year is different and unique. But it goes back to the mindset of, like, you know, when we have Pat Mahomes, we're geared to go after this every year, and certainly you want guys that have upside, but we also want to win now, and you know, we don't want to spend too much of this. Too much of these resources into just, you know, waiting and developing, and we want guys to come in here and play right away. We're going to need them right away. We have big expectations, and you know, we're okay with some developmental guys, and our coaches have done a great job of that. But at the same time, guys like you know, Trent and George and Cook, I mean, these guys are going to be able to come in right away and be able to help us right away, and that's certainly drives us in the overall evaluation and how we place our final board.
This is
Ghazi
obviously-
mentioned about how that, you know, Cook was one of your more highly graded special teams guys, and the other guys tonight certainly seem like they have some value there. How much of that is, you know, circumstances, happenstance versus intention, and where do you kind of stand as far as, because there's a lot of snaps from your special teams unit last year that's not going to be back.
Yeah.
Where do you kind of stand in rebuilding that unit?
Yeah, I mean, are you asking about the final value or where we stand? Just
One is, you know, just how these three guys maybe were, you know, their special teams importance, you know, plays a role in their selection, and then versus just the overall picture of how the special teams are right now.
yeah, well, going into this offseason and with all the moving pieces, you know, that was certainly an area. I mean, we're going to have, you know, you need corners and DNs, but also just in regards to the, like, totality of our roster, like, we took a big hit with special teams, and I think, you know, doing things that we didn't for like Bush and what have you. You know, we tried to kind of piecemeal that, Carter, Bush, in some ways, but we also knew that there was a big drop-off on where our roster, you know, was and where it's going in regards to the special teams. And this always comes in, you know, the longer the draft goes on, the more it gets weighted with special teams. So obviously, you know, your first picks, it's important, but you're gonna stick to your board and you're gonna fill needs. And then as the days go by and the picks get lower, then you know these guys may not be starters right away, but they're gonna have to play teams. So now it gets weighted a little bit higher. You know, Cook and Leo are guys that were rated high too. So that you know, that wouldn't have been a be all end all, but that was certainly another added bonus for us when we took those picks. But I mean, you know, Dave does a great job, and we always, I mean, we know that when these games are so tight and you have to play so many of them, it comes down to special teams, and take a lot of pride in that, and we, you know, like to think that we never overlook that, and anytime we may start to look the other way, Dave's right down the hall knocking on the door, so he's always in there reminding us. But these guys are going to be able to come in right away too and help us on teams.
Do you see much return possibilities for Sky Moore?
Yeah, you know, we think so. You know, and look, we still have some more picks here. Now, that was one of the unique things where, I mean, his running back background, and he goes to Western and didn't do a lot of that. Now, I mean, there's pro days and what have you, and I mean, a couple factors. You know, one, knowing that, you know, the kid's hands are amazing, his ball skills are amazing. I mean, it's obviously makes sense that it would translate to return. I mean, there's also an element, though, you know, the punt return stuff is a little bit unique, where I always feel like most skilled receivers, it's corners, what have you, can go back there and catch kicks. Punts is a little bit of a different animal, I think. I do think his skill set should easily translate to that, but until you do it in a game, you never know. I think he'll certainly get a look at that, and you know, we like him as a receiver, but we think that there could be certainly added value as a returner, both punt and kick.
But this is sort of the first draft that the becomes even more important, obviously, with the salary cap stuff. Do you feel more comfortable, not that you were uncomfortable, just given the way that these first couple of days have played out?
Yeah, we do, and I think it's a combination of you know, the talent, the character, you know, again, going back to the question earlier about the interviews and just knowing these guys are gonna come in and, you know, the amount of time we spend, it's, we have more time now too, because we learned a lot in these last 2 years with the COVID and the Zooms, and now we're able to go and we're able to meet with these players at the combine. We're able to assess kind of where they are and feel one way or the other. And then if we have some gray or if we're not sure, you know, now we can go back, we can go visit the guys on campus. We can Zoom them for as long as you really want. I mean, and that has allowed us to really, you know, fill out all the question marks we have and eliminate all the gray area. And so with guys like Trent and George and Leo and, you know, Skylar, like, we left all those meetings, whether it be at the combine, in-house visits, Zoom meetings, we left all those meetings like, yeah, this is going to be an easy transition in regards to just picking up a playbook and knowing where it needs to be. Then you throw in the talent, and then you throw in the needs that we have, kind of all work together.
Couple more, guys. Or not.
Great. Awesome. Great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Get some rest, man.